Hello, everyone, and welcome to another weekly Zoom Satsang. Yeah, I'm really enjoying holding these weekly half-an-hour sessions together. It's so sweet to meet in this way. Yeah. And before I start, I'd like to take a moment to just connect with you a little bit. And if you feel to share a word or two or a sentence in the chat, you're very welcome. Just to say how you're feeling in this moment, what's happening in your life right now, what are you bringing to this session. If you feel like, you don't have to, but it is a way of getting a sense of who is here. Yeah, I really miss meeting in person, and so this is a way of reaching out and saying, hello, anyone actually there? Not just images on a screen. Yeah, so I invite you to show yourself. Even though we don't actually get to have interaction, still to hear or to read out your words is something. So yeah, Christina, softness. Alex, I feel nervous and kind. Nice. Yeah. Kati, agitation. Annette, grateful. Yeah. Ruth, feeling heavy in the belly. Yeah, I love how you're sharing not just sweet and nice things, but what's really here. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, well, you're welcome to go on writing something while we start. So yeah, let's start by just sitting, getting comfortable, and we can close our eyes. Take a few deep breaths into the belly. And just taking a few moments to feel into how this body is in this moment. Physically, emotionally, mentally. What's happening in this moment for this human? Noticing any very strong, obvious sensations, and also the more subtle ones, the waves of energy passing through. Maybe they stick around for a while, but then they move and change. Noticing also how the thinking likes to put labels on whatever is happening in the experience. And sometimes things change too fast for the label. Thoughts come with a label and it's already not that. It's already moved. And as we are noticing whatever is happening in the experience of this human, there is the knowing of, the seeing of whatever is here, the awareness of what is here. And this awareness is not something that you need to do or maintain. It is always untouched. It is the holding, the container for whatever is arising in the human experience. And as we acknowledge this awareness that is, in fact, our true nature always, we may feel a sense of this human being nourished by this acknowledgement of our true nature. Knowing that this human doesn't need to do it. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to become anything or anyone more. This awareness that you already are is doing it all, knowing it all, seeing it all. So the human can slowly start to unwind unwind all its trying, all the effort to be someone. And we can just rest as who we already are. And then we can take a few more deep breaths into the belly. And then when you're ready, we can open our eyes, come back to the screen. So I got a couple of questions that I was asked to speak about or respond to, which is also just a reminder that when you register for this weekly Zoom, you can type in a question or a theme that you'd like me to speak about, or you can also just email us with that. Yeah. So the one question was about self-doubt, which I feel I can really relate to on a personal level. For me personally, self-doubt has or was always a very familiar friend on the journey. Yeah, and I feel like I've learnt so many lessons with and from and out of this self-doubt, and I continue to. It is, in fact, such a gift. So there's a hidden intelligence in self-doubt, which is surprising, I feel. Usually we consider self-doubt to be a problem, right? And it can be, of course, when we really believe in it, and those thoughts of self-doubt that doubt everything we do, everything we say, everything we feel, every action, every path we take. It can be very limiting, and it can keep us really small. It can be actually really debilitating. We might even be paralyzed by it. And it can be very painful. And it can be based on an old wound, some old trauma, past experience. It's usually just some kind of old conditioning. We may not even understand where it comes from in our past, but it can become a habit, a way that we relate to ourselves. It can become, or it is, in fact, a story of me, my identity as someone who is not good enough or doubtful, a small me. And it can be a way of staying safe, a protection. Of course, anytime you might get the feeling to move into a more challenging path, a more exposing path, where you might expand or become a bit bigger, that self-doubt might come in and say, no, I better stay small. It's much safer. And so it has an intelligence in that way, that it is a protection. But of course, also it keeps us small when maybe we long to step out and show ourselves and express ourselves freely. Yeah. And yes, it is this story of me. And if we start to question, who is this me? We can see that really there isn't a separate me inside here, living in this body in time. And yet, these kind of almost fundamental identities or stories of me, that they seem to refer to a me as if there is a me in here, even when you recognize that there isn't. That story of self-doubt can go on. And I like to turn it around and actually see it as a beautiful thing, because it has many beautiful qualities, especially when we can see it for what it is. We can see that it is never actually referring to a separate me. This self-doubt actually keeps us humble, right? So it may keep us too small, but at the same time, it can keep us in acknowledging that we don't know really. So anytime the mind might want to land in, I think I know, or I'm sure or certain about some position or opinion or pathway, this self-doubt will question. It will look at it again. It will reflect. Are you sure? What do I really know? Is this really who I am? Am I really that one that is so certain and sure? So it keeps us humble. It keeps us acknowledging the truth that we really don't know, which is the ultimate truth, right? That we really don't know. And it keeps us also in a bigger sense of trust. That when we don't know, or we don't believe in those thoughts that say, I know, and we acknowledge that we don't know, there is this bigger sense of trust that the mind doesn't understand. So the mind can be self-doubting, but at the same time, there can be this sense of a bigger trust that holds even that self-doubt or any other thought stories or feelings. It keeps us curious and open, questioning, it all. It also means that we have a less rigid sense of identity in another way. Like if we're even questioning, who am I? Right? So when we can see that this small me even is not who I am, we can see that this story of self-doubt is not really who I am, we then can start to question, well, then who am I really? Which again is this openness, spaciousness, fluidity. It is also, because it is a protection mechanism that protects us against feeling rejected, getting it wrong, being hurt. When we start to see this for what it is, we can feel into what is underneath that. Our fears, our longings, our wounds, our pain, our heartbreak, grief. So it invites us to come to our tender heart. So I really feel that there are so many gifts actually in this self-doubt. It also invites us to slow down and pause and not jump into something. And sometimes just reflecting and questioning and taking a moment to really listen and feel into, is this right? This means that we don't rush into something impulsively, sometimes based on an idea of who we think we are. So this self-doubt really invites us to question everything. So it's really about feeling into what is true in this self-doubt. That the story of me, of this small me, this is not who you really are. That in fact, you are that is aware of any small me or big me or anything. And in seeing that, when that self-doubt story comes up, see it as an invitation to feel into that vulnerability, to be open to that bigger trust, to not knowing, and yet still we live in not knowing. So really this is the beauty and the hidden intelligence of self-doubt. Yeah. Yeah. I see Dennis just wrote, just resting a moment in the eye of the storm, watching miracles unfold. Oh, that's really beautiful. Thank you, Dennis. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really have much time for the other question now. Well, maybe I'll speak about it for a few minutes, a couple of minutes. And that is the difference between the awareness that we are and the personal heart. I find this also a really beautiful question. Yeah. So first of all, what is awareness? Well, it is that we really are, that is beyond the play of experience. It's that is seeing, knowing. And I put my hands like this because I find that it somehow is a better way of pointing even beyond the words to who we are, to this awareness that is untouched, It's not doing anything. You don't need to try to be aware. It is our nature already. And then what is this personal human heart? Well, as I said, it's personal. So the awareness is impersonal. The human heart is seen to be personal. It includes feelings, love, tenderness, vulnerability, sense of connection, openness, expansiveness in our experience. And usually we see these two things as kind of separate. But in fact, they're not separate at all, because essentially the awareness that we are is aware of what is arising in the human experience, no matter what. So the feelings, the sensation of openness and connection and tenderness, all of that is happening in awareness. So it's not separate. It appears to be personal. It appears to be located, even felt physically here in my heart. And yet it is known in that awareness, that bigger openness, or in fact, that bigger heart that is the openness for everything that comes and goes in our personal experience, in our personal heart. So, in fact, the personal heart is not separate from the bigger heart that we are. In fact, the expression of this personal heart, the feelings, are an expression of the bigger heart in the human expression and the human experience. It's like life itself, that awareness uses this human to express itself. And in those beautiful moments where our heart is touched and we feel a sense of connection and openness and love, compassion, we can feel that sense of no separation. All the boundaries melt and merge, and there is only oneness. There is only one heart. And in that moment, it's felt as a sensation, as an experience in the personal experience, and yet it's not my personal heart. When we really feel that sense of connection, then there is only heart. So before we end, if anyone wants to write a word or two in the chat, just acknowledging how you are now at the end of our time together, if you feel like. I see Jana, calm and thankful. Alex, love you. Love you too. Yeah, I mean, that's such an example. I always feel with the words love you or I love you, it's the expression of the personal human heart, isn't it? From one heart to another heart, as if we're separate. And yet, when we really feel that love, Those words I and you don't mean anything. It's just love. Yeah. Okay. And Jean-Marc, I feel a bit sleepy. Yeah. And Santa, thank you. Thank you for talking about the open heart. Marco, I'm grateful you reminded me to take this break in a day. I actually talked about self-doubt with a friend today. I will send her the video. Great. Christina, sleepy and surprised. Ruth, light and tired. Cutty, tired. Well, I hope I haven't tired you all out. Maybe you can go and have a nice restful rest of your evening. Sending you all lots of love. Thank you very much for joining me. Oh, and just to say that I've put out recently a new 6-week online journey on the theme finding safety in uncertainty. And it's all on my website. Yeah, it'd be lovely if some of you would join me. Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. See you next time, next Wednesday. Oh, and this Sunday as well. I'm also doing an open meeting this Sunday on the theme about connecting with people in the same way as we connect to nature. All right. See you then. Thank you very much. Salam. Bye.